First tip, the height of the countertop, both the countertop for your cooktop and the countertop for your sink. Let's start here with this very important tip, which is the height of your countertop. It doesn't matter if the cooktop is on the same countertop as a sink or if the cooktop is on an island or vice versa, okay? Let's speak generally here, but we're going to talk about the specific height of the countertop where the cooktop is and the countertop where the sink is. Pay attention. Usually, when you research kitchen countertop heights, you always hear and read that the standard height is 90 centimeters from the finished floor up to the top edge of your countertop. But who determines that? Is the standard height really 90 or not? Is it 90 centimeters that you're going to use in your house, in your apartment? Is that right for you, for your daily life, for your family? Well, that really depends. 90 centimeters is a height that we set as a base, not as a standard, but as a starting point. Now, what will determine whether the height should be 93, 95, 88 or 85 centimeters is your own height, okay? That's right, the taller you are, the taller your family is. You, your wife, your children. For everyday use of your countertop, both for the cooktop and for the sink, we also need to have a greater height for this countertop of ours. I tell you the same thing, but the opposite. When you are someone who is shorter, about 1.6 to 1.7 meters tall at most, there we also need to reduce the height of this kitchen countertop to 88 or 87 centimeters, because this directly affects your back comfort. When I talk about back ergonomics, I mean the ergonomics of the layout, okay? It's about how this will affect your daily use and your health. If you're a short person and you have a very high countertop, you almost have to stand on your tiptoes to use your countertop. The same goes the other way around. If you're a very tall person and you have a very low countertop, you have to lean your body forward to use your countertop, and that directly affects your health and well-being. So the first tip I'm giving you in this video, which is extremely important, you have no idea how many health problems this can cause in your daily life when your countertop height is measured or designed incorrectly, okay? Second tip, the toe kick under your counter as well as its height and recess. These two items here are automatically connected, the height of your countertop and the toe kick. Many people call it a plinth, right? This base that extends out. I call it the toe kick. Here at Arc 7, that's how we make it easier to understand. What happens when you don't have a well-designed toe kick, just like our countertop? A toe kick is that base where your cabinet, your kitchen cabinet is placed, whether it's built in masonry or made as custom cabinetry. And then a lot of people put a toe kick finish with the same floor tile or even from the same material as the countertop, right? The countertop stone. I'm not here to talk about the aesthetics of this detail, this item we're discussing now, whether it's going to be porcelain or stone. I've already covered that in another video here on the channel. But what I want you to understand is that this toe kick needs a height from the finished floor up to the point where your cabinet starts. That's the first point. Second, it also needs to have a setback from the finished cabinetry. Okay? And standard height, which we usually use in projects, right? Standard, but that's something you define in your project. Okay? Just like the countertop height, which has a standard height, the toe kick does too. Usually, in projects, we make the toe kick 15 centimeters high from the finished floor, and then the custom cabinetry, the cabinet itself, starts above it. So 15 centimeters would be a good height. Can you make it less? Yes, you can. There's no problem with that. If you leave more than 15, you lose cabinet height. If you leave less, you gain cabinet height. Now, more importantly, in my opinion, what matters more than making it 10, 15, 12 or 13 is how far back you recess the toe kick. When I talk about setback, pay attention. Your finished cabinet ends here, look. It's just cabinetry. You can't line up your toe kick exactly with the cabinetry. You need to set this toe kick back at least 10 centimeters, okay? Your cabinetry ends here and you set your toe kick back at least 10 centimeters. Do you know why? When you stand in front of your countertop, at your sink, washing dishes, or in front of the cooktop, the tip of your foot, your shoe, will hit this toe kick when it's aligned with the cabinetry. Do you understand? Just take a look. If you stand there and look down, you see that the tip of your foot, your shoe, extends past the vertical line of your body. So automatically I need to keep this toe kick recessed so that when I'm using my countertop, the tip of my foot goes into this recess and makes it more comfortable to use my countertop. Never leave the countertop or your cabinet lined up with the toe kick. Never. If you do that, you will regret it bitterly. I'm telling you from my own experience, because I've already been called by clients to solve this kind of situation. Alright? So this is also about health, ergonomics in your everyday life, for your spine, for your well-being. These first two items I mentioned here are automatically connected, and if you make a mistake with them, I'm sure you'll regret it. The third item, I want to talk about the lighting in our kitchen, which I usually recommend be neutral white at a minimum. I would never put warm white lighting or even that amber, that yellowish color in my kitchen project. You know that yellow from our kitchen lighting? Except in exceptional cases where the client insists. They say, I want yellow, I like it, I want that yellow warm white lighting in my kitchen. Okay, no problem. They will decide, but I will advise that at least it should be warm white or neutral white, which is the middle ground between cool white and warm white. Neutral white is right there in the middle of the chart, which we usually set at 4000 kelvins, okay? You don't need to worry about that last word I mentioned, kelvins. What you need to worry about is understanding that the lighting in your kitchen needs to be bright. It needs to be lighting that you bring brightness to your daily life. It's not that warm white doesn't bring brightness, but compared to a social or intimate environment, a service area like a kitchen, I will always recommend that you use neutral white or cool white. As a last resort, cool white. Neutral white is basically a lighting tone that I always like to use in bathrooms, kitchens, service areas, and even offices, okay? But always prioritize using neutral white instead of warm white lighting in your kitchen, okay? Keep the refrigerator away from the stove. This is also a very good tip that I want to share with you right now. There are layouts, just to put it simply, that people like to talk about and illustrate, where you need to use a triangle for your kitchen layout. Look, the sink goes here, the stove here, the refrigerator here, and so on. Is this mandatory? Is this a rule? No. The only thing you need to understand is that your refrigerator, it automatically needs to be away from your stove. You can't have your refrigerator here and your stove right next to it. We know that the refrigerator gives off heat from its back, right? That vapor there, that temperature, and also the stove is a hot spot, a hot area. But think about it. Why would I put the stove right next to my refrigerator without any protection? Here it is, refrigerator, stove, cooktop, for example. It doesn't make sense, it's not logical to have these two appliances side by side, because in a way, one will end up affecting the other. Either the refrigerator will affect the stove, or more precisely, the stove will affect the refrigerator. And lastly, your kitchen floor. I will always recommend a satin finish floor for your kitchen. Let's go. I left this last item here to talk to you about. Whether it's the use of satin finish flooring, polished flooring, or even vinyl flooring, some people use that in the kitchen too. Because it's something people have different opinions about, okay? For example, I really like to use satin finish flooring in my projects. Some people like polished flooring, you know, that flooring that has more shine. Some people sometimes, in their project, they use vinyl flooring throughout the whole kitchen. Can you do that? Yes, you can. There's no problem at all. Can you put polished flooring in the kitchen? Yes, you can. There's no problem at all. Do you like satin finish? That's also no problem at all. It's a matter of taste. But I want to share with you my perspective as an architect, which might help you. Kitchen flooring, we need to have some slip resistance, so it's safer to walk on. If, for example, you just mop your floor, the polished floor tends to be it's more likely for you to slip on a polished floor compared to satin finish flooring. So that's a point you need to consider when choosing between polished or satin finish flooring. Is vinyl flooring good for a kitchen? It depends. Let me give you another perspective here. Are you used to washing your kitchen floor, actually throwing water on it? In that case, I wouldn't recommend vinyl flooring for you. Go with the satin or the polished one, okay? Especially the satin one. So it's a matter of taste. There's not much to it. It's about your daily use. If you're someone who cleans your kitchen a lot, go with satin finish flooring. If you clean every now and then, but you like to use water when you clean, go with polished flooring, polished porcelain. Now, if you're the kind of person who just wipes things down every now and then, doesn't use the kitchen a lot so it doesn't get dirty all the time, and you want to have the same vinyl you put in the living room just in your kitchen, that's fine too. There's no problem with that, okay? It would fit nicely in your project. So these are things you need to consider and decide which one you choose for your kitchen floor. All right, guys? So here are 5 tips, 5 pieces of information you need to take into consideration when building, renovating, or decorating your kitchen. There are many more items I could list for you here, but in my opinion, these are the 5 main functional ones you need to follow, okay? So you can have a functional kitchen, a nice layout, and a beautiful, well-decorated kitchen, all right? There are others, for example, faucets, drop-in sinks, glass, mirrors on the doors. We can leave those for another video, but this here you have to follow. In my opinion, you have to follow this to have a nice kitchen, all right? I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you enjoyed it, if you liked it, share it with your friends, with everyone you know, so we can get this information I just shared in this video to a lot of people, alright? Leave a like and I'll see you in our next video. Take care!